This is ABC Radio South Australia with Angela Coe.
Speedway season is over, or well, almost over for all SA tracks. And with the end of the season at Murray Bridge came the last race as a driver for Moss Buchanan. Murray Bridge is home to a pretty impressive speedway track. Thousands of people roll through the gates each year to watch from the amphitheatre stadium. And for decades, Moss was a track manager. And then finally, he had his turn to race. Moss explained how he got his start in speedway.
1972-73 as a mechanic pusher for Brenton Kluski, a solo rider, and his name was Autumn Leaves. He used to fall off a lot, but yeah, he was a reasonably good rider. We went to Rowley Park, Murray Bridge, Renmark, Mount Gambier, Mildura. So yeah, helped him out as a mechanic, worked on the bike.
And what's a pusher?
It's because it's a solo, there's no starter motors or anything like that. You've got to push the actual bike to get it to go. So we have one on each side of the motorbike at the rear pushing the bike in front of you.
Okay, right, that makes a lot of sense. What roles did you later take on at Murray Bridge Speedway?
Took on, I was assistant manager for a year, and then they made me manager, licensed secretary, and then that turned into administrator of the club.
How many years did you do that for?
35 years.
That is a long time to be in a position. What kept you going?
Oh, well, it was just the interest in the sport, and family became involved, and I had two sons that began racing, and the wife did the canteen. So, yes, a big involvement. And between 1980 and 2000, we changed the track 3 times, 3 different changes. You were around, I think, at that stage.
Yeah.
And then in 2000, we built a brand new club rooms, $400,000 that the club spent on that, and made the track larger. It was still dolomite at that stage, but now it's clay.
Right, so big changes have happened in those 35 years that you've been there. And yeah, I was there. I remember the old track and just how... it was beautiful. I loved it. I did get to race on it, and then I think I might have even been the last person to do a lap on a mechanics day or something like that before it changed to the big new fancy track. And then that extension was another game changer for the club as well. Really elevated that position for people to be able to have a watch and a big function centre as well. That was a huge change for the club.
Yeah, well, the club rooms overlook the whole track and the premises, and you could go into the club rooms if you wanted, or sit on the hill.
When do you reckon the golden era of Speedway was, if we're not in it now?
No, we're not in it now. It's in the past for us, for those that were involved. The golden era was most probably 2000 to 2010, 2015 maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, things have changed in the speedway world, and a lot of classes have changed names. You know, what was the old hot rods are now dirt modifieds, and there's other classes like mod lights, and
Do you still see motorbikes at Murray Bridge Speedway?
No, we haven't run any at the Speedway for about 9-10 years now. The last one was a sidecar Australian Championship.
What an event to go out on.
Yeah. Well, the 3 wheels were very thrilling and put on very spectacular racing for 4 sidecars on the track at a time, or if we run handicaps, it was up to 7 sidecars staggered around the track on how they performed, and you'd get 3 or 4 of those out of the 7 going over the finish line at the same time.
Oh, I absolutely love watching the sidecars and the solos, and as a little kid sitting up on the hill looking down at the sidewinders, that's all I wanted to do. And Mum said, "No, you can get a car instead. You need some bars around you." And I was quite grateful of being able to race and be the first junior sedan at Murray Bridge. It was, quite a time, and there were huge crowds, and they were always full, and we had to get in early to get our seats. And yeah, Murray Bridge Speedway is a huge part of that community. When did you decide to start stepping back, Moss?
Well, I retired from being administrator in 2007, and stood back, and the club ran it and brought in upmarket people more than better in computers and stuff that I wasn't au fait with. So, yeah, 2007, the club changed direction and went into a lot of upmarket marketing, TV, etc. We did TV for like the Australian Sprint Car title and Super title and stuff, but they went big time, and it really didn't pay off for them.
Yeah, and you say that that's around a bit of a time when the sport was going through a few changes as well. When did you decide, Moss, after all of those years as an administrator, to put on a helmet and actually race yourself?
Well, the boys encouraged me for about 12 months after retiring. So, yeah, about 15 years ago, they got me into an XF Ford, and we went racing.
What was it like to finally be on the track, behind the wheel, in a race of your own?
Well, it was different. You prior to that did all the maintenance and grading, etc. And yeah, it was totally a different thrill.
You'd done more laps on that track than anyone in history, with all of the water carts and the graders and all of the track maintenance that you would have done over those years. Going a hell of a lot faster when you're in a stock. What type of car were you driving?
XF Falcon.
In the street stocks, is that still the name for it, or?
Street stock, still the name.
They haven't changed that one. Good.
No.
So,
and then that was one of Craig's cars, and then I drove the EB, and then eventually went to the VS Commodore, which Anthony did a deal with another gentleman and had 2 Commodores. So we went up market a bit better and went to the VS.
And I understand you wanted to have a bit of a crack at an Australian title. What happened?
I've done about 4 Australian titles, 2 at Mildura, 1 at Mount Gambier, and 1 at Kingaroy in 2016. And we did practice on the Thursday night, and then Friday was the first round of heats, and I was in the same heat as Craig, my son, and went in to turn 3, and the car just nosedived on the right and pirouetted, and that was the end of the penny section for that Australian title at Kingaroy for me. The car was too damaged in the front end, and we hoped to repair it when we went back to Bundaberg, but just too much damage. We had to cut the front half of the car when we got home in Murray Bridge and replace it.
That is a very long way to go to not even complete 1 lap, Moss.
It certainly was, yeah. But the boys did all right.
Oh, that's good. Good. When you were in that motion of rolling your car and you'd seen countless incursions of this happening on the track before you got in, what was it like?
It wasn't thrilling, I can tell you that, but you just hang on to the steering wheel and let it ride out.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do when you get into that position, I know from experience as well. When was your last race, Moss?
Last race was about the 23rd of April this year, and then we did promotions day, and the car was sold.
So you hung up the helmet for the last time in racing.
As a driver.
As a driver, what's your input now in Speedway?
I'm still involved with the club on the executive committee and a board member on the state body for sedans.
Mm-hmm. And I understand you had a goal of getting around to all the tracks in SA. Where have you got left to go?
The only one is Waikerie, and that I'll do on the long weekend in June with my son. I'll be a passenger in his dual-seater.
Oh, beauty. Well, we wish you all the best with that, Moss, and it has been wonderful having a catch-up with you after many, many years of being out of the game. It was interesting to find out where you've been and what you've been up to, and to hear that you got in the car and had many of the experiences that you've made possible for other people as well. Moss, thank you so much for chatting with me today, and good luck with your last race in Waikerie.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Angela. Much appreciated.